From Jeffrey Epstein, the financier who turned networking into a criminal enterprise of sex trafficking, to Silvio Berlusconi, the Italian prime minister who elevated corruption and bribery to an art form, to Alan Stanford, the businessman who treated running a Ponzi scheme as the ultimate team-building exercise. These billionaire predators, once celebrated in magazines and headlines, are now at the center of scandals that reveal the dark side of their wealth. In this video, we highlight 9 billionaire predators caught in that act, starting with Jeffrey Epstein. The initial investigation into Epstein's activities began in Florida when a woman, whose name was undisclosed, reported to the police that a wealthy man had molested her daughter. This tip-off led to a broader investigation that uncovered a pattern of alleged abuse. Epstein was accused of luring underage girls to his Palm Beach mansion under the pretense of paying them for massages, which would then escalate to sexual exploitation. As the investigation continued, the full extent of Epstein's alleged crimes became apparent. The FBI gathered a lot of incriminating evidence, and in 2008 Epstein risked a life sentence. However, the outcome was a plea deal that has since been widely criticized for its leniency. Epstein pleaded guilty to solicitation of prostitution and procurement of minors for prostitution, receiving a sentence of just 13 months in a private wing of a Palm Beach County jail. Controversially, he was permitted work release, allowing him to continue his professional life in 2019. A new chapter in the Jeffrey Epstein saga unfolded as he faced fresh charges that reignited the pursuit of justice. Arrested once again, this time on the tarmac of New Jersey's Teterboro Airport, Epstein was charged with sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors. These charges were not just a repeat of past accusations, but an expansion, alleging that Epstein's criminal activity spanned from Florida to New York and involved dozens of underage girls between 2002 and 2005. The indictment accused Epstein of creating a vast network for trafficking and exploiting young girls, some as young as 14. Federal agents, upon searching his Upper East Side townhouse, unearthed a trove of evidence, including photographs of underage girls. The prosecution alleged that Epstein not only paid these girls for so-called massages, but also incentivized them to recruit more victims, effectively creating a predatory cycle. Central to this operation were Epstein's associates who were implicated in facilitating the trafficking ring. Epstein was later sentenced to a maximum sentence of 45 years and later died in jail from suicide. The second billionaire on the list is Harvey Weinstein. The timeline of the Harvey Weinstein rape case scandal is a complex path through Hollywood history, filled with shocking revelations that eventually led to the media mogul's downfall. It began in the late 1970s and 1980s when Weinstein, along with his brother Bob, co-founded Miramax, a company that would become a powerhouse in the independent film industry. For years, Weinstein was praised for producing acclaimed films, but beneath the surface, a dark story was unfolding. The first tremors of the impending scandal were felt in October 2017 when the New York Times published a bombshell article detailing allegations of sexual harassment against Weinstein from multiple women, including actress Ashley Judd. This explosive report revealed a pattern of predatory behavior, including unwanted advances and settlements with at least 8 women. As the scandal unfolded, Weinstein faced mounting legal challenges. In May 2018, he was arrested and charged in New York with rape and several other counts of sexual abuse. On February 24, 2020, the jury delivered their verdict. Weinstein was found guilty of a criminal sexual act in the first degree and rape in the third degree. He was acquitted of the more serious charges of predatory sexual assault, which could have led to a life sentence on March 11, 2020. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison in the immediate aftermath of the allegations. There was a palpable sense of reckoning in Hollywood. A list, celebrities and industry leaders who had worked with Weinstein over the years faced intense scrutiny, with many expressing shock and condemnation, while others admitted to having heard rumors but failing to act. One of the most significant outcomes of the Weinstein scandal was the amplification of the #MeToo movement, founded by activist Tarana Burke. The hashtag became a global phenomenon, with countless individuals sharing their experiences of sexual harassment and assault on social media. The movement transcended the entertainment industry, but within Hollywood, it led to the creation of Time's Up, an initiative aimed at combating workplace sexual harassment and advocating for equality for women in all industries. The next on the list is Bernie Madoff. In 1960, with a mere $5,000 saved from working as a lifeguard and sprinkler installer, Madoff founded his firm, Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities LLC. Initially, the firm made a name for itself by trading penny stocks over the counter, a market less trodden by the financial giants of the time, which allowed Madoff to carve out his niche. As the firm expanded, it began to attract more affluent clients, offering a new breed of investment services. Madoff's firm was not content with the status quo. It was a pioneer pushing the boundaries of traditional trading by leveraging innovative technology. The firm developed a computerized trading system that allowed for rapid growth and positioned the company as a trusted and efficient entity within the financial industry. Madoff's reputation as a financial wizard began to solidify his firm's success in leveraging technology caught the eye of the Nasdaq, one of the world's first electronic stock markets, which later adopted Madoff's innovative trading system by the 1990s Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities LLC was not just a participant in the market, it was a driving force processing a staggering 10 to 15% of all trading orders for the New York Stock Exchange. Before the world knew of the dark underbelly of Madoff's operations, he was seen as a titan of Wall Street, a philanthropist, and a political influencer. As Bernie Madoff's stature on Wall Street grew, so did the whispers of skepticism among certain industry insiders. For years, a few astute observers harbored doubts about the consistently high returns Madoff's firm claimed to deliver, especially in volatile market conditions. Their suspicions, however, were met with the formidable wall of Madoff's reputation, which seemed to cast a spell of credibility over his operations. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), the watchdog of the financial markets, was prompted to investigate Madoff's firm on several occasions. Despite multiple probes starting as early as 1992, the SEC's efforts were akin to a series of missed opportunities. Each investigation concluded without uncovering the massive fraud right under their noses. The year 2008 became the turning point. The global financial crisis created a climate of fear and uncertainty, leading many investors to seek the safety of their investments. Madoff's scheme, which relied on a continuous influx of new funds to pay returns to earlier investors, began to crumble as redemption requests surged. Clients demanded a staggering $7 billion back, but Madoff's coffers were running dry. In a desperate attempt to keep the scheme afloat, Madoff sought new investors and asked existing ones to pump in more money. But it was too late. The financial crisis had tightened its grip, and the flow of new investments slowed to a trickle. Madoff's intricate web of lies unraveled as he confessed to his sons that his investment empire was one big lie. His sons, in turn, alerted the authorities, leading to Madoff's arrest on December 11, 2008. The next on the list was one of the youngest, fast-growing billionaires in recent times, and he is Sam Bankman-Fried, known in the crypto world as SBF. He quickly became a financial prodigy in digital currencies with a mop of curly hair and a wardrobe of shorts and t-shirts. He was the antithesis of the Wall Street archetype, yet beneath this unassuming exterior lay a razor-sharp mind that would soon catapult him to the top of the crypto world. The year 2017 marked a pivotal moment for SBF. The crypto market was in the throes of a bull run, and Bitcoin's value was skyrocketing. Sensing an opportunity, Bankman-Fried ventured into the world of digital assets, founding Alameda Research, a quantitative cryptocurrency trading firm. Alameda Research quickly gained a reputation for its sophisticated trading strategies and its ability to capitalize on the inefficiencies in the nascent crypto markets. But SBF's ambitions stretched far beyond trading. In April of 2019, he launched FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange that aimed to address the pain points traders faced on existing platforms. FTX was innovative, offering a plethora of products including futures, options, and leveraged tokens. The platform's user-friendly interface, coupled with its advanced trading features, made it an instant hit among traders. FTX's rise was swift. Within a short span, it became one of the top 5 cryptocurrency exchanges by volume, attracting both retail and institutional investors. SBF influence extended beyond his business ventures. He became a vocal advocate for effective altruism, pledging to donate the majority of his wealth to charitable causes. His dedication to philanthropy and involvement in cryptocurrency regulation made him appear as a visionary striving for a more equitable future. As FTX flourished, so did Bankman-Fried's reputation. He graced the covers of leading business magazines, was featured in Forbes' 30 Under 30 Inches list, and became a regular at high-profile conferences with a net worth soaring into the billions. SBF was hailed as the next Warren Buffett, a financial maverick, reshaping the very fabric of the investment landscape. The facade of success that Sam Bankman-Fried had meticulously constructed began to show cracks as whispers of misconduct started to circulate. The first tremors were felt when reports surfaced questioning the integrity of the relationship between FTX and Alameda Research. That allegations suggested that Alameda Research had been given preferential treatment on the FTX platform, enjoying a privileged position that allowed it to engage in risk-laden trades with a safety net seemingly underwritten by FTX's customer deposits. This was a deviation from the industry's best practices, where customer funds are sacrosanct and are to be kept segregated from the company's operational funds. As the crypto market faced headwinds and the value of digital assets began to plummet, the vulnerabilities in FTX and Alameda's operations became more pronounced. The situation escalated when a leaked balance sheet from Alameda Research revealed a staggering over-reliance on FTT, the native token of the FTX exchange, as a cornerstone of its balance sheet. FTT's value was intrinsically linked to the health of FTX and the disclosure raised alarms about the solvency of both Alameda and FTX. Investors and traders in a frenzy of panic rushed to withdraw their funds from the exchange, triggering a liquidity crisis that FTX could not contain. The crisis reached a boiling point when Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange and a one-time ally-turned competitor, announced it would liquidate its holdings in FTT, citing concerns about the revelations. This move worsened the already escalating crisis, causing FTT's value to plummet and triggering a bank run on FTX. As the walls closed in, Sam Bankman-Fried's empire began to unravel at breakneck speed. The liquidity crunch exposed the alleged misuse of customer funds, and it became apparent that FTX could not honor the withdrawal request. Flooding in the final nail in the coffin came when FTX filed for bankruptcy, a humbling end to a company that had once been valued at $32 billion. Bankman-Fried resigned as CEO, and the full extent of the alleged financial mismanagement began to surface. Reports indicated that FTX had used billions of dollars of customer funds to prop up Alameda's risky bets, a move that was not only ethically questionable, but potentially criminal. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and the Department of Justice swiftly launched investigations into the activities of Bankman-Fried and his companies. Bankman-Fried was found guilty of all 7 criminal counts against him and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The next billionaire caught in that act on the list is Alan Stanford. Stanford's journey to financial infamy was not immediate. It was a gradual climb marked by savvy and sometimes controversial business decisions. It was in Antigua where Stanford's star began to rise. He acquired a failing bank and transformed it into the Stanford International Bank. Investors were lured with promises of high returns that traditional banks could not match. Stanford's bank offered a portfolio of investments, including certificates of deposit that seemed too good to be true. And as the bank's reputation grew, so did the influx of money from investors eager to partake in Stanford's financial alchemy. But Stanford was not content with being a mere banker. He sought to become a titan, a philanthropist, a knight in shining armor to the island that had become his domain. Stanford was not just selling investments. He was selling a lifestyle, a dream of wealth and exclusivity. His clients weren't just investors. They were part of an elite club, one that offered luxury yachts, private jets, and opulent parties. Stanford himself embodied this luxurious image, often seen in high-profile events, rubbing shoulders with celebrities and politicians. the Stanford Financial Group expanded to include a brokerage firm, an investment bank, and even an airline. Stanford's image as a successful businessman was bolstered by his acquisition of luxury properties and sponsorship of high-profile sporting events. However, the rapid expansion masked a troubling reality. The returns Stanford promised were not generated through legitimate investment activities, but through the continuous investment of new funds, a classic Ponzi scheme structure. As long as new investors kept coming, the illusion of prosperity could be maintained. The facade of the Stanford Financial Group began to crumble when the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, took notice of the irregularities in the bank's operations. The SEC involvement marked the beginning of the end for Alan Stanford's financial empire. In February 2009, SEC charged Stanford and his associates with massive ongoing fraud. In March 2012, a federal jury convicted Stanford on 13 out of 14 counts, including fraud, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. Next on the list was someone known for emulating Steve Jobs, always seen wearing a turtleneck top. She is Elizabeth Holmes. Holmes was captivated by computer programming and had filed her first patent application by the time she was 19. She claims to create a device that could run comprehensive tests using just a few drops of blood from a finger prick. This innovation promised to make blood testing cheaper, more convenient, and less painful, an appealing prospect for patients and healthcare providers alike. Holmes was a masterful storyteller, and her narrative was laced with personal anecdotes and a clear vision that resonated with the public and investors. She cultivated a mystique, often dressing in a signature black turtleneck that drew comparisons to Steve Jobs and spoke with a deep baritone voice that commanded attention. Her charisma and the potential of her company's technology drew in high-profile board members, including former Secretaries of State George Shultz and Henry Kissinger. Theranos quickly became a Silicon Valley sensation. By 2015, the company had raised over $400 million in funding and was valued at an astonishing $9 billion, with Holmes' own stake estimated at half that amount. She was celebrated as the world's youngest self-made female billionaire and graced the covers of business magazines. Theranos formed partnerships with major companies like Walgreens and Safeway, planning to roll out its blood testing devices. In their stores, the public was fascinated by the story of a young, fearless woman challenging the giants of the medical industry with a breakthrough that could make healthcare accessible to all. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly meteoric rise, there were rumblings of discontent. Medical experts questioned the plausibility of her Theranos technology, and some employees began to voice concerns internally. The company's secrecy about his technology and refusal to publish peer-reviewed research papers began to raise eyebrows in the scientific community. Still, the allure of a world-changing innovation and the persuasive power of Holmes kept the skeptics at bay. The facade of Theranos began to crumble when John Carrera, a seasoned journalist at the Wall Street Journal, received a tip that all was not as it seemed within the walls of the mysterious company. Carrie Roos' investigation, which spanned several months, revealed that the Edison, the blood testing device that was the cornerstone of Theranos' promise, was deeply flawed. Despite Holmes' claims that the Edison could run a full range of tests with just a few drops of blood, the machine was, in reality, only capable of performing a fraction of these tests. Moreover, the results it produced were often inaccurate, leading to potentially dangerous health misdiagnosis. In October 2015, Carrera published his explosive findings in the Wall Street Journal, detailing how Theranos had used commercially available machines for most of its testing, while the Edison devices produced erratic results. In 2016, Theranos voided 2 years of blood tests, and Holmes was banned from operating a clinical lab for 2 years. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) charged Holmes and former Theranos president Ramesh Sunny Balwani with massive fraud, alleging that they had engaged in an elaborate, years-long scheme to deceive investors, doctors, and patients. The trial of Elizabeth Holmes, the former CEO of Theranos, was a landmark case in corporate accountability and the tech industry, charged with 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Holmes faced the possibility of decades in prison. Young girls once looked up to the next person on the list as a caring figure, until she betrayed their trust. This is the story of Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, a name that once evoked images of luxury and high society, has become irrevocably linked with a narrative of manipulation and abuse. Her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, a financier of mysterious reputation, evolved into a partnership of predation that spanned across the 1990s to the early 2000s. Together, they orchestrated a conspiracy that targeted minors, exploiting their innocence for their own twisted gratification. Maxwell, born into a life of privilege as the daughter of a media mogul, leveraged her social standing to gain the trust of young girls. She presented herself as a sophisticated and caring figure, someone who could offer guidance and opportunities. The methods employed by Maxwell and Epstein were insidious. They sought out girls from challenging backgrounds, often from single-parent households or those facing financial hardships. The pair promised support for education, travel, and career advancement, but these promises were hollow, serving only to ensnare the victims in a web of abuse. Maxwell's role was multifaceted. She was not merely an accomplice, but an active participant in the grooming process. She would initiate contact with the girls, taking them shopping, to the movies, or on trips, all under the guise of mentorship. She normalized the sexualized atmosphere by discussing intimate topics, undressing in front of them, and encouraging them to give Epstein massages. As the years progressed, the operation grew more sophisticated. Maxwell and Epstein shifted from targeting individuals to creating a network of victims who were then used to recruit others. The conspiracy reached its peak in the early 2000s. With Maxwell and Epstein's influence at its zenith, they moved with impunity, confident in their ability to manipulate and control. But as the years passed, the truth began to surface, and the facade of benevolence crumbled, revealing the monstrous reality beneath. The indictment and subsequent trial of Ghislaine Maxwell exposed the extent of their crimes. Maxwell's sentencing by United States Circuit Judge Allison J. Nathan to 240 months in prison marked that end of a long and painful chapter for the victims. The next person on our list recognized the power of effective marketing in business and used it to commit a crime. Let's delve into the story of the Sacklers family. Arthur Mortimer and Raymond Sackler, trained as psychiatrists, harbored a vision that transcended the bounds of medical practice. In 1952, Arthur Sackler saw potential in a modest company, Purdue Pharma, known for laxatives, and purchased it, not knowing it would become the nucleus of a future empire under the Sackler stewardship. Purdue Pharma embarked on a journey of transformation. The brothers combined their medical knowledge with shrewd business acumen, propelling the company into the limelight of pharmaceutical innovation. But it was the launch of OxyContin in 1996 that marked a turning point, not just for Purdue, but for the entire landscape of pain management. OxyContin was introduced as a revolutionary painkiller. Its controlled-release formula promised long-lasting relief for chronic pain sufferers. The aggressive marketing campaigns that followed painted OxyContin as a safe and effective solution, a narrative eagerly embraced by the medical community and patients alike. Purdue's representatives fanned out across the nation armed with persuasive pitches and promotional materials, seeding a belief in OxyContin's ability to reclaim lives from the clutches of pain. Yet beneath the veneer of this pharmaceutical panacea, a crisis was brewing. The addictive potential of OxyContin, downplayed in Purdue's marketing, began to surface with a vengeance. As prescriptions soared, so did cases of misuse, addiction, and a mounting death toll that would eventually capture national attention. The Sackler family, meanwhile, enjoyed the financial rewards from the success of OxyContin. Purdue Pharma's profits soared into the billions, propelling the Sacklers to the heights of wealth and philanthropy. The legal reckoning for Purdue Pharma began in 2007 when the company and three of its top executives pleaded guilty to federal charges of misbranding the drug safety. Purdue then agreed to pay $600 million in one of the largest pharmaceutical settlements in history. The final billionaire on the list is Silvio Berlusconi. In the late 1990s, a scandal emerged that marked the beginning of a long series of legal battles for Silvio Berlusconi, the media magnate who became Prime Minister of Italy. At the center of this scandal was Mediaset. Berlusconi's vast television empire, and the questionable purchase of TV rights that led to his tax fraud conviction. The case involved the acquisition of film and television rights by Mediaset through offshore companies. These rights were purchased at inflated prices, which prosecutors argued was a tactic to create illegal slush funds and evade taxes. In Italy, the prosecution portrayed a narrative of deliberate deceit, where Berlusconi and other Mediaset executives orchestrated a scheme to inflate the purchase price of broadcasting rights by hundreds of millions of dollars. The excess amounts were then funneled through a network of offshore companies, ultimately reducing Mediaset's tax liabilities. In Italy, the Milan court, after a lengthy trial, found Berlusconi guilty of tax fraud. In October 2012, Berlusconi was sentenced to 4 years in prison, a sentence that was automatically reduced to 1 year due to a pardon. Act passed in 2006. For the second time again, Berlusconi was back to the spotlight with the Rubygate scandal. At the center of this lurid tale was Karima El Marou, better known by her nickname Ruby Rubakori, or Ruby the Heartsteller, a young Moroccan dancer whose involvement with Berlusconi would lead to one of the most sensational trials in recent Italian history. The prosecution alleged that Berlusconi had engaged in sexual encounters with Miss Marou at his infamous bunga parties while she was just 17, below the age of consent for prostitution in Italy. Despite the defense's efforts, the court found Berlusconi guilty, sentencing him to 7 years in prison and imposing a lifetime ban on holding public office beyond the high-profile Rubygate scandal. Silvio Berlusconi's legal troubles extended into a labyrinth of courtroom battles that would challenge his political career and shake the discourse of Italian politics. One such case was the wiretap conviction, which saw Berlusconi accused of breaching confidentiality by leaking the contents of a legally intercepted phone call involving his political rival Piero Fassino, then leader of the biggest center-left party in Italy. The leak occurred during Unipol's attempt to take over BNL Bank in 2005, a move that was under investigation for potential inappropriate interference. In March 2013, Berlusconi was convicted of violating confidentiality laws and sentenced to 1 year in jail. This conviction further tarnished Berlusconi's reputation, reinforcing his image as a leader willing to overstep legal boundaries for political gain. Paolo Berlusconi was also found guilty and received a sentence of 2 years and 3 months. Both brothers remained free pending appeal, but their public images were severely damaged. Another significant legal challenge for Berlusconi was the trial for allegedly bribing a senator. In February 2014, a new trial opened in Naples, accusing Berlusconi of paying a bribe of €3 million to Senator Sergio De Gregorio in 2006. The alleged bribe was intended to weaken the then-ruling government by persuading De Gregorio to switch his allegiance to Berlusconi's party. This case highlighted the darker aspects of political maneuvering and the lengths some politicians might go to in order to secure power. The media trade case was yet another legal hurdle for Berlusconi, involving accusations of tax evasion and embezzlement related to the sale of television rights. Berlusconi's son, Pier Silvio, who was Mediaset's deputy chairman, was also implicated in the case. The trial, which centered on alleged fraud over inflated prices for TV rights, was eventually dropped in 2012, but not without casting further doubt on the business practices of Berlusconi's media empire. Berlusconi's entanglement with the British lawyer David Mills also resulted in legal scrutiny, accused of paying Mills €434,000 to provide false testimony in 2 corruption trials. During the 1990s, Berlusconi faced allegations of judicial tampering. Although the case expired under the statute of limitations, it contributed to the narrative of a man seemingly embroiled in endless legal controversies. These legal challenges had a profound impact on Berlusconi's political career, eroding his credibility and fueling the perception of a political system rife with corruption. Each trial and accusation chipped away at the armor of invincibility that Berlusconi had once worn, revealing the vulnerabilities of a leader under siege by the law. If you enjoyed watching this video, then go ahead and click on any of the cards on your screen for more exciting videos like this.